So I took a video of what I'm going to show you a little while ago of the actual part that gets worked on later on in the video. What happened to that, I don't know. It just disappeared. So, but what I have, so here's this horn pad. It's typical mid-late 70s Mopar into the 80s, I think. Anyway, and they're all very, very similar in the aspect I'm going to talk about. But this is a different one. Obviously, I haven't washed it or cleaned it up. It's still pretty dirty. I'm going to take it apart, and I'm going to guess that this is going to have some of the same issues that the other one that you will see later on in the video actually has, as far as the foam in there that's all falling apart and stuff. So, okay, hang on. Pretty easy to take apart. Way easier to take apart than they are to put back together, because for some reason I always struggle putting them back together. Maybe the rubber shrinks a little bit from the time I take them apart to the time I put them back together. So actually this one is in beautiful shape. So can I get this off without, no I can't. Alright, well, surprise, surprise. So we can still see what I'm doing. Yeah, okay. So there's this thin little piece of foam in there that keeps this piece of metal away from the rest of it, which is where the horn grounds through. This is a slightly different looking upper pad here, or it just has an extra covering on, and it's glued on both sides. So actually I'm not going to mess with this one at all. Well, I thought I was going to find the same kind of thing, and I find something that is in really nice looking shape. So, but okay, well, I guess on with the rest of the video. Okay, so I just can't leave well enough alone, I guess. So I peeled this off. I picked that one end and it started to peel kind of nice. This is a slightly different style, and I think it's way better. So as you can see, these little humps and bumps. That other one, it was just totally flat. The one that you'll see later on in the video. So I think it's probably an improved design. So then this piece is just totally flat, and it's got, you know, the gaps cut in. So when you push on it, the foam smooshes down, and then you make a connection between here to there. They work the same. The process to change this part of it, to make new one of these, is going to be the same. So actually, it's just glued together, but not very well anymore. I mean, good grief, it's been how many decades? Probably, where did this column came out of a 78 or 79? So, been there a while. You know, 40 some years. And that fits on like that, and this one goes over the top, and it's all stuck together, da 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 da, and you push on it. So I'll probably put new foam in this one. But this is going to be used in my 1980. But so anyway, yeah, slightly different, but still basically the same. So it's good to know. Now I can build a second type of prototype, and maybe if I get really ambitious, I can sell them. But this is the same. You know, this is basically the same. It's slightly different, but it still goes together perfectly fine. Just the same. So, and this is actually, I'm sure they went to it because this is way simpler. Because that other one was like a piece of brass. You'll see it in a little while. A piece of brass, all kinds of weird little divots and pointy parts and everything else. So, anyway, there we go. Now, on with the video. So I'm in the shop now, no, not on the kitchen anymore. So this foam stuff that I talked about stuck to here as part of the horn pad. First I thought I was going to try something like this. This is quilt batting. Well, it's soft, and I thought maybe I would have to do a double layer or whatever. And I tried, once I got it all cut out, there just isn't enough structure there, and the stuff just fell apart. There wasn't anything left. So I thought, what else do I have laying around? And then I've got this stuff. Ignore this for now. It's a product I get from the sewing shop in town. I've used it with limited success with headliners, you know, a little bit of an insulation. It's a thin little foam piece, you know, it's about that wide. It's soft, but it's still got some firmness to it. It's fairly stiff. And the one side, I forget which side it is. I think it's this side, not that it matters. It's designed to like have a fabric iron. You can iron it on there and it'll stick because there's a little bit of adhesive in there as far as when heat activated. And I forget the name of the product, and if I find it, I'll get it posted like into the description. But like I say, I've used it with headliners. Gives a little bit of a foam, especially on some of the older stuff, like with the old cardboard or the thin little fiberglass backing where there's a piece of foam there and then the material. And of course that foam is all just destroyed over the years. So this kind of makes up for that. The problem with using it for a headliner is where it's folded up in the package, you'll see wrinkles like that and they kind of show through. So, which isn't a big deal. It's a headliner, it's above you, you never see it. And so long as it's not a show car, it's fine. But then I thought, well, I'm going to try this because that other stuff fell apart. So we're going to find out how well this works. I think it's going to work great. I have a set of hole punches so I can punch out, and they just happen to be the exact same size, which is nice. And I sprayed my template on here. This, in case I didn't mention it before, this piece, that's still a little bit wet. This, on the one side of it, whichever side, it doesn't matter anymore, had a little bit of foam from the factory, and then the other side was sticky, you know, so it had adhesive. So that's what they stuck straight onto here and then put that into the horn, steering wheel for the horn. So, but first, like I said, let me back up. When I tried this, I sprayed the template onto this and then thinner cardboard and then stapled that down and punched it all, and that didn't work. I shouldn't need, this is firm enough, I shouldn't need to put a sacrificial template over the top like this or that thinner cardboard that I first used. I should be able to just use this. Hopefully everything works. And it's about the right thickness. You know, it's almost as thick. Come on, there we go. If I can see it, there we go. You know, as thick as those are kind of hanging down, it's almost the same exact thickness, which is just a smidge bit more, which is perfect. So, wish me luck. I'm gonna cut this out and see how it feels on there, and if it does, then I will kind of put it together with the rest of the horn pad and get the old voltmeter out and see how it works. Oh, the other thing, wood chisels for these straight edges. Obviously that one's too big. I just grabbed all of them I had. So there we go. So at this phase of the game, I'm gonna say we are achieving a pretty high level of success. So you can kind of see, get right in there. It sits up as I kind of hold it in place. It sits up just a little bit higher than the metal tangs, which makes your electrical connection for your horn. And the holes, you can see, yeah, they're maybe not perfect, but they don't really have to be. I think the reason why they're there is so there's room for the foam to crush, you know, from the factory, so that you didn't have to push super hard. You weren't poking this through the foam, you know, and this hopefully acts about the same way. You can kind of see, because I did this on a piece of plywood, you know, your chisels and punches are going to destroy it, so make sure you have a sacrificial piece of that laying around too. So I'm going to go put this together here in a little bit. Whoops, get that in the right spot. Kind of just hold it all together and see once how well it all works. And I'm pretty sure this is going to work fan-freaking-tastic. We'll see here in a little bit. So here's my initial test. I've got the one wire, you can see, hooked up to the tab like it's supposed to be. The other one just grounded to this base. And here is put this where we can see it. Get my cord in the right place. There's my ohm meter. And then if I push on it, I gotta push, I mean, not like super hard, but hard enough. But I'm sure the foam will probably kind of give a little bit. And you don't want it overly sensitive, unless you're a road rager. Let's see. Boom, there it is. All right, so now we're going to put the rubber piece on and see what that feels. And it's not going to be 100% because it's all supposed to be screwed together, and this is supposed to be glued on, blah, blah, blah. You know what? But I'm proving it's working. It's working the way it's intended to. Okay, I should have glued it all together because getting that thing on was a pain in the butt. So again, here we have our voltmeter, or our ohm meter. Push on it, boom, there we go. And it's really not that hard. I mean, you gotta push pretty decent, but like I say, nothing's like glued in there right, and I'm sure it'll mush out or collapse just a little bit once it's in there. But I say, I think it's gonna work. I think we have achieved a great level of success today. So now I'll take it all apart, glue that pad onto that piece, that little copper piece, brass, whatever it is, and throw it back into the pickup right on the steering column, and we'll test it out actually in the vehicle then some other day. So here we are in the truck, obviously. You can see I had to take everything apart and do a little insulating, shall we say. This end, where you can see a little bit of the red tape I ran out of red, was really close. When I screwed everything together, there was just enough flex, and I suppose the pad or whatever was pushing it, and the horn was basically on all the time. Not good. So I peeled it up a little bit, put some tape underneath the corners where they were touching, and then over here it was also really close. So I don't know if the foam shifted or something else, or if this little brass piece had a little bit of a twist in it. It was like really close. So I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna put a piece of tape there. Everywhere else it's gonna make contact just fine. Like on this side, you can see, you can get into the sun. I have the sun. There we go, kinda, yeah, something like that. You can see that, I mean, there's a reasonable gap there. So I'm gonna put this on, screw it down, check it, make sure it works. Then I'm gonna fight to put that rubber pad back on and see how it works again. Because having the horn on 24/7 probably is a good way to piss the neighbors off. Okay, it's on. I'm gonna call it. Don't get anything out here. Don't get anything on the ends because those are taped up. Boop, that works. That works. That works. I'm gonna call this a success. I still think now that I've had to deal with this one and I see the other one a little bit, I think that other design is better, but you get what you get. But I think either one of them will fix just fine. So, hooray.